Hey everybody, what's going on? I just lost my audio. We were talking about critical race theory, and we were really getting into the conversation. And I hate the fact that I lost my audio, but I'm gonna finish up the discussion. And those of you that want to hear the beginning of this video, just go to drboycetv.com, and the beginning video should be somewhere on that channel. And some of you may have waited around and came back in. So I'm gonna finish up and continue the conversation on critical race theory right now so you guys can hear the rest. So I apologize. I do stuff on my phone, and I guess sometimes when my phone alarm goes off, it cuts off the audio. So I have no idea. This is that's my fault for not sitting down and actually using the mic. But you know what? Let's continue the conversation. So, as you know, earlier we were talking about critical race theory, and I was explaining to you something that a lot of Black scholars might not agree with. That I truly don't care if public schools ever teach critical race theory. I'm not going to make critical race theory in public schools my number one battlefront. Critical race theory being taught in the public school is not something that is at the top of my priority list. It doesn't mean I have a problem. If you think critical race theory is necessary, you can believe that. But I want you to understand that that's not something that I am truly connected to as far as things that are really relevant, things that are going to really make the difference when it comes to kids. So the first thing I'll say on this, just to sort of paraphrase a little bit and then drive a little deeper, is, if you want your kids to learn critical race theory, have them read Dr. Claude Anderson's books, in your house, right? Black Labor, White Wealth is the best critical race theory book, in my view, in terms of explaining systematic racism and why white people have all the power and wealth in America and why Black people don't, right? Doesn't mean there aren't other great books out there. Doesn't mean there aren't other great scholars. But I personally believe that you should talk about the things that are going to make you free, not just the things that are going to make you mad. Do you hear what I'm saying? Don't just talk about the things that are going to make you free, not just the things that are going to make you mad. Talk about the things that are going to help you get personal validation, not things that are going to force you to spend your life seeking out false white validation. You see, a lot of people, unfortunately, they have the racial debate context completely the wrong way. Their whole thought is we're pissed off because white people are mean to us. We wish they liked us more. They don't give us jobs in their companies that we deserve. They don't give us the opportunities we'd like to have. They won't give Hannah Nicole Jones tenure at the University of North Carolina. So this is wrong because white people spend their whole lives giving us microaggressions and mistreating us in specific ways. So we're going to spend our whole lives fighting white people to get them to be nicer to us. I'm the kind of person who says white people are always going to be white. Cuban people are going to be Cuban. Mexicans are going to be Mexicans. Chinese are going to be Chinese. Irish are going to be Irish. And last time I checked around, the Irish were not sitting around trying to figure out how they could be nicer to the Chinese. The Chinese were not sitting around thinking, how can we make sure Jewish children always have a job? The Jewish community is not sitting around saying, I wonder if Arab people are feeling appreciated today. People don't do that. Give me a yes or no if you understand what I'm saying. Put a yes in the chat to let me know you're following the logic that I'm laying out here. I'm a believer that in this world, the only people that really care about you completely is you. I don't know. I know most of you don't wake up thinking, how do I make sure white people feel appreciated or that every white kid has a job? You don't care. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means you just don't care. It means you're thinking about your own kids, your own family. When I wake up, I'm looking at my wife and my children, and I'm making sure that they are good. I'm not really thinking about how the kids down the street are doing because that's the job of their parents. Right? Do you follow what I'm saying? Give me a yes and you understand what I'm saying. So when you talk about critical race theory, the unfortunate reality that liberals have put us into is they put us in this weird space where we kind of get caught up in everything that we think matters, and we ignore the things that actually matter. In America, America is a capitalist democracy, which means money kind of rules everything. Money controls your politicians, even your politicians on the far left, like Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders and all these others. They can't get elected without several $100 million in support. Raphael Warnock could not have gotten elected to the Senate if he had not gotten about $250 million in financial support. What the other lady, the lady I told you, the strong Black woman who don't need no man that was on the cover of that magazine, I forgot, Stacey Abrams, could not have gotten elected if somebody had not put a couple $100 million behind her, or actually she almost got elected to governor. But I'm sure that campaign raised at least $100 million, right? So money drives everything. Even the people that act like money doesn't matter, money does matter. It matters to them. And what they do is when they talk to Black people, they kind of ignore the economics. They get you caught up in what I call the kiddie table. The kiddie table is where you don't really talk about the economics. It's like with your children. With your children, you might say, hey, let's go to Disney. Let's go see Mickey Mouse. And the kids are excited about Mickey Mouse. They're excited about going to Disney. They're excited about, about eating at McDonald's, but you don't talk to them about the cost of going to Disney. You don't talk to them about the fact that the mortgage is due that week, and you got to find a way to pay the mortgage and still pay for the plane tickets for you and your family to go to Disney, right? You don't talk to them about the grown-up things that are happening in the house. You talk to them about the children's things. So in America, it's like a house, right? And you've got the grown-ups. The grown-ups are the wealthy white people who are talking about all the economic dynamics that move this country. They're talking about how the real estate deals are being done and how you can gentrify the entire black half of Chicago and put strip malls and all kinds of and dog parks and everything else in those areas. They talk about the economics required to get somebody elected to president, and how you need $1 billion to run for president. Actually, it's more like $2 billion now. So you can run tons of TV ads and get people fighting over things that don't even matter, right? Like whether or not somebody is going to teach critical race theory in a school, or whether or not LGBT issues should be at the forefront of a public conversation, right? But they're doing all this because they're pretty much got you at the kiddie table thinking about the things that don't really move power in America. So why do I bring that up? I bring that up because this critical race theory debate, to me, is a big nothing burger. For a couple reasons. One, if you want your kids to learn critical race theory, again, have them read Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. In my book club, we're actually covering that book right now. You can join my book club and my life class for free. It does not cost you a penny. You get a lifetime membership for free at blackkeystogreatness.com. So we meet every Wednesday night at 8:30, and we are reading Black Labor, White Wealth, and I'm giving you the Dr. Boyce breakdown of that entire book. And then we're going to do Powernomics, and then we're going to do the Black History Reader. So by the time we're done with that, your children will have a complete education on critical race theory that came from a PhD professor who's smarter than most of the professors in most of these universities around the country. So there you go. Boom. Critical race theory is done. We've got that out of the way. Now let's go a little deeper. Another reason why I stay away from these white liberal debates is because they box you in to what I call a long-term 1,000-year gang-affiliated warfare that's been going on between the left and the right for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? This thing between the communists and the capitalists has been going on since forever. And I've studied the history of this. Whenever those two groups clash, whenever the left and the right clash, and in America, you know them as the Democrats and the Republicans, whenever they clash, there's destruction. Any groups that get affiliated with that nonsense become collateral damage. Let me tell you, let me break it down for you like this right quick. Some of y'all will get it. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to talk over anybody's heads. I've been accused of that. I've been accused of being elitist because I assume black people are not stupid, and I talk to you like you're grown-ups. I don't talk to you like you're children. So I'm not going to spin a bunch of hip hop music in the middle of every sentence to make you feel like it's worth listening to. I don't do that, right? I'm not going to fulfill this insatiable need for instant gratification to actually give you something that I think actually makes sense. So here's the deal. If you go back to Vietnam was a battle between the communists and the capitalists. The collateral damage was the country of Vietnam itself. They destroyed that country. They had relatives murdering each other in Vietnam. They blew up every single city, all the way from Saigon all the way up. They made promises to the people in South Vietnam. We got you. We got your back. We gonna cover you, dog. I'm gonna be right there with you, man. And then when the heat got too hot and Congress got fickle, they abandoned Saigon and people got their heads chopped off in the public square because those Americans, those white folks who said they had their back, suddenly ran for the exit when the heat got too hot. Same thing. If you watch shows like Snowfall is a great layout. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not perfectly historically accurate, but Freeway Ricky Ross talks about how Snowfall is really his story of explaining how the crack cocaine got dropped by the CIA into the black community. So the black community was collateral damage for a bigger objective. Well, why was that? Well, they were supporting a war in Nicaragua with the Sandinistas that basically was, again, that epic battle between the left and the right, the communists and the capitalists. So the black community became collateral damage. That's why your auntie got hooked on crack. That's why your uncle Ray been in prison since 1992. That's why so many of your children are running around here don't even know what it means to have a daddy in the house because their daddy was never there. Some of these men run around here hating black women because their mama was on that dope and was never there for them, right? So that you were collateral damage in the bigger war between the right and the left. Give me a yes. Please give me a yes to confirm that you're following my logic here. Let me know if you're starting to see a pattern. Again, the epic battle, the gang warfare between the left and the right, occurred down in Nicaragua. That war they were funding with all the crack cocaine money that they were putting in the black neighborhoods. Well, they told one side of the fight, I think it was the Contras, they said, "We got your back, dog. We gonna be here for you, dog. We gonna supply you weapons, man. I got you, bro." And when Congress got fickle, they abandoned the Condinistas. And next thing you know, they're pissed off because all those weapons are not arriving and they're not following through on their commitment to support the war. So wait a minute, you done talked me into this battle and you really don't have my back. People getting blown up, shot up, killed, country destroyed because that country, Nicaragua, became the devil's playground. That became the battleground between the left and the right, this battle that's been going on for hundreds of years. So why do I bring all this up? I bring it up because that's what's happening in your community right now. That's why in this election, you have black people who've been down for each other since the 70s stop speaking because I can't stand the fact that my uncle voted for Trump. Or I'm pissed off that my auntie is a hardcore Democrat, and that just makes me mad because the Democrats this and the Democrats that. What are you talking about, you stupid idiot? Are you really telling me that you're going to stop talking to your auntie who was there for you since the beginning, all because she voted for a different white man than you? All because you own Donald Trump's nuts, or you want to tickle Joe Biden's balls, and you just think Joe Biden is Uncle Joe and your best buddy, even though he incarcerated more black men than any president in recent American history? Are you kidding me right now? I'm not knocking you for voting for Biden. I don't care who you voted for. I'm not knocking you if you're a Trump supporter. It doesn't matter to me. The reason that I don't care is because I know that that's not going to move the needle at all for the black community. I'm black first, baby. That's it. That's what it is. So your political affiliation matters to me about as much as the color of your shoes. I am not going to stop being your friend because you wear red shoes and I wear yellow shoes, because it ain't nothing but some damn shoes. Let's focus on something that matters. Let's get out the kiddie table and start having some grown-up conversations where we understand that finding a reason to unify is more important than allowing them to give us a reason to divide. And some of the folks don't get it. Some of our people are so gone mentally, they don't even understand it. They take all their cues from the white liberals or all their cues from the white conservatives. Candace Owens is every bit as bad as a Mark Lamont Hill. Those two people are puppets for their designated political affiliations. They are both being backed by people that have their hands stuck up their butt like a puppet and funnel money up their butt, and they pretty much parakeet them. They move their hands and tell them what words to say. And if you pay very close attention, you will notice that most of the things that come out of both of their mouths tend to be statements that are connected to their existing political affiliation. That's what it is. So what I'm trying to really talk to you about is something that only grown-ups really will understand, which is real, true independent power. Independent power to me means that you can see good ideas on the right, some good ideas on the left, but you're not overcommitted to anybody. Malcolm X always said that if you're really trying to be a true black nationalist, that's what I am, you're going to disconnect from those pre-existing white affiliations altogether. You're going to say, you know what, if the Republicans come up with a good idea and a good, proposal and some money behind it, we might consider that. If the Democrats come along with something that we like, we might consider that. But you got to write a check to come with it. Black people don't come cheap. I'm not a slave anymore. And I think that when you talk about this critical race theory debate, the reason I'm not a fan of it is because I don't want white people teaching my children critical race theory. I just don't. I don't want the public school. I don't trust the public schools. If my kids are going to learn critical race theory, they're going to learn it from me and their mother. Because we're going to have them read books like Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, which will explain everything they need to know about how white people have been screwing you over since the beginning of time. But then also they're going to hear from Daddy Boyce, who's going to say, yeah, they might have screwed you, but you are not a goddamn victim. Do not go through your life sitting around thinking that you are a helpless little victim who is always going to be re-traumatized, and that the only hope for you is to sit around and hope that one day your white liberal friends are going to come through like Superman and pick you up off the concrete. You get your ass up. You get up and fight. You get up and go get you some wealth, little black girl, so you know how to stand up to these sons of bitches when they come after you. You need to know how to have your own money, black man, so that when that white man fires you from that damn job and tells you that it's just because Brad in corporate is just a better fit for the company and doesn't explain why, when really the reason we know is that because Brad is white and you're not, you're gonna walk away with your head up, black man, and you're gonna understand you still have a job to do. You're not going to be like some of these broken ass people who say, well, the reason I can't support my family is because white folks ain't hiring. You don't say stuff like that. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. What the hell? You mean to tell me that your ability, that the line between happiness and unhappiness for you is designed by how white people treat you? Or did you really? Are you do understand that that makes you a white supremacist, right? You do understand that makes you a white supremacist. Well, how does that make you a white supremacist? Well, let me explain. Well, when you really believe that your access to happiness, that your access to freedom, that your access to success and power is driven by what white people do, then effectively you have made white people into your economic and political gods. They have become gods to you. So you go to church and you pray to God. You say, God, please give me a better job. Right. And then a white man comes along and offers you a better job. And you're like, thank you, God. You gave me a better job. Now I got opportunities. Now I can be somebody in this world. Because I wouldn't know. But before you came along with this opportunity, I was just nothing. All I was just a little black boy and I wasn't worth nothing. Now you done gave me an opportunity. You done gave me some fancy threads. You gave me some, you gave me a nice place to live. You done gave me a nice salary and a fancy position at a job. Now I am somebody. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What is that? So I'm not into critical race theory because I'm not into white supremacy. I'm not into sitting around hearing about how my number one obsession in life every day needs to be whether or not white people like me. I assume that they don't. I assume that they're not even thinking about me. I assume they're thinking about their own children, which is exactly what I'm doing. I got a white neighbor. I don't know his name. I should know his name by now. We've been living next door to each other for 5 years, but I don't even know his name. But I like this guy a lot. He's a really nice guy. His kids, he takes good care of his kids. His sons love hockey. I don't know shit about hockey, but I like him. He's a nice guy. When we talk about which company do you use to get your grass fertilized. We talk about the NBA finals. And stuff like that. Or we'll say simple things like, I hope it doesn't snow again tomorrow. And then I go in my house and he goes in his. And whenever I see him, I greet him with a smile. He greets me with a smile because he's a good guy. But I don't even know his name because I honestly, deep down, maybe I'm a son of a bitch, but I just don't care. And I know he takes good care of his sons and his family, but I don't know if they eat every day. I don't know. He doesn't know what's going on in my household. We live our lives. We take care of our own. You take care of yours, I'm going to take care of mine. And I don't, and it's not an animosity thing. It's not a love-hate thing. I don't seek his approval when I get up every day. I don't care. He could call me every name in the book when he walks in his house. Somebody could come over and say, well, Tom called you, whatever his name, I'll call him Tom because I don't know his name. Tom called you the N-word the other day at dinner. I'm not going to go to Tom's house in a ball of rage saying, I thought we were friends, Tom. I thought you liked me, bro. How are you going to call me the N-word, Tom? Because I don't care. I don't care. I just hope Tom doesn't scramble onto the internet and see some of my videos because I scare the hell out of white people. I've been scaring them for 25 years. I have trouble keeping white friends because they think that loving black people means I must hate white people. That's your guilt popping up. That's you feeling guilty because y'all know y'all done did some shit to black people that gives us legitimate reason to be mad at you, right? So your guilt, I can't take responsibility for it, but I get that. I understand. If I were white, I would think that Boyce hated me too, right? But guess what? Lucky for you, I don't. I don't because I don't think that is a productive energy. I don't think that that me constantly being in full awareness of how you feel about me is the best way for me to be the best person I can be. That's not the best way for me to be the best head of my household. That's not the best way for me to go out and achieve the things I want in life and to find my right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's not going to work for me. So it doesn't mean I don't hate, it doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean I love you. None of that. I don't really care. And I think that for Black folks, when we're talking about the big problem I have with some of the race conversations is I have people that will come to me and will say, well, so and so doesn't like Black people. And honestly, deep down, I swear to God, in the back of my head, I don't say it publicly because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but I'm literally thinking, I don't give a F. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you're mad that Joe Wilson said that he don't like Black folks. So what? Do you understand that in the grown-up game of this world, no community likes anybody else? Chinese talk crap about Jewish people. Jewish people talk crap about Arabs. Arabs talk crap about the Mexicans. Everybody takes care of their own. Black people are the only group of people that really are running around here spending our whole lives, dedicating our entire lives. Got scholars that dedicate all their research to this, to getting white people to like us and constantly having a monitor on how they feel about us at any particular given time. So I heard that a white person in Iowa called us the N-word. We're going to dedicate all of our energy next week to making sure that this person's life is miserable. Like that white boy up in New Jersey. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That white guy that got into the argument with the African guy and kept using the N-word. And then DL Hughley posts his video and suddenly, and then a bunch of people do. And next thing you know, all these people are rallying at his house as if somehow shutting down some stupid redneck in New Jersey is some type of racial progress. When last time I checked, shutting this guy down, and I'm not defending him. I don't care nothing about this dude, but shutting him down did nothing to put more food on the tables of Black people. Shutting that white guy down did nothing to get you any closer to getting your $15 trillion reparations check. Shutting that guy down did nothing to help you get closer to finishing your master's degree or taking better care of your children. Shutting him down did nothing to deal with the fact that you still eat about $1 trillion worth of unhealthy food that's killing you en masse, that's killing thousands of you. But yet you so stuck talking about COVID because that's the only thing white people give you permission to be upset about. But yet you got diabetes deaths all around you. But you're like, oh, well, we got to watch out for the pandemic, y'all. The pandemic is coming, y'all. The pandemic is killing everybody, y'all. No, the pandemic ain't killing everybody. Diabetes is killing everybody. Go look at the data. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the data. So what am I trying to say here? Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, Wednesday at 8:30, we're going to talk about Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson in our book club. And it's part of my life class. You can join for free. It's a lifetime membership. The URL's on the screen. It's blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. So just to conclude this conversation about critical race theory, here's the simple idea. One, I do not want to be caught as collateral damage and to be a pawn in the epic battle between the right and the left. Those debates are not of interest to me because even your so-called liberal friends will never talk about the money. They won't talk about the $15 trillion in reparations that are owed to you. They keep the money to themselves and they give you a bunch of social issues to jump up and down about. That's not of interest to me. Two, if you want your children to learn critical race theory, go read books like Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. That'll teach you everything you need to know about systematic racism, and then Powernomics will give you solutions to help you fight against that. That's how you can teach critical race theory to your kids. You are the first and primary educator of that child, not that white lady from the suburbs. I know white supremacy taught you that you need white people in order for you to be educated, but that's simply not true. You can educate your children yourself, and that's what I do in my household. That's what me and my wife do. We don't really give a shit what they're teaching at the public school. We're always going to make sure we trump whatever they're teaching at school. Thirdly, when you talk about critical race theory, one thing that's fundamentally true and very important is that when you're talking about power in America, you must talk about the economics. One of the reasons I don't align with the liberal ideology is because it is infected with a lot of communism and a lot of Marxism. Now, I don't have a problem with Marxism entirely. I read up on Karl Marx's ideas. I like many of his ideas. His critiques of capitalism are spot on. The man was not a stupid man. But one thing that Karl Marx was he was a great man. He was an intelligent man. But here's what he wasn't. He was not a black man. Karl Marx was not a black man in America trying to figure out how to accumulate power in a country where every single system is designed to keep you oppressed. Karl Marx did not live in America. He did not grow up in South Central in the 1980s. He's not a black man trying to figure out how to hold it down with a family where families are broken up and busted up. He wasn't in our struggle. So one of the things I need y'all to understand is when you start hearing the head of Black Lives Matter say that she's a trained Marxist, I think all the creators of Black Lives Matter are trained Marxists. I'm like, what the fuck Marxism got to do with the black struggle? Or you go back and you even look at the sacred movements like the Black Panthers, heavily laced in Marxism and communism and all this other stuff. I'm not anti any of that. But what I'm saying to you is you got to understand that sometimes if you could do the right thing, but have the wrong origins. You can have toxic origins to a very pure ideology. So the Black Panthers did a lot of great things. Don't get me wrong, but they made some critical mistakes. And some of those mistakes involved a lack of focus on economics because there's something in the Marxist communist sociologist ideology that doesn't want to talk about the money. And so if you're in the year 2021, 2022, 2023, and you're trying to fight a battle in America, you better talk your ass about the money. If you forget about the money, that's like showing up to a football game and you don't forget to bring your football and your helmet. If you show up to the Super Bowl without a helmet, you're going to get your head busted wide open. So some of y'all are trying to play in the Super Bowl without a helmet and you're getting your heads cracked open and you don't exactly know why. Well, the reason your head got cracked open and you're laying on the ground bloody and busted with brain damage is because nobody told you that when you show up to this game, you better bring your damn helmet. Your helmet is your economic power. Black people with no economic power have no helmet. So when you see black folks fighting for every single thing except for the money, those are individuals, to me, are nothing more than paper tigers in the eyes of a greedy capitalist. They are paper tigers. They're doing a whole lot of yelling, a whole lot of screaming, a whole lot of marching, a whole lot of jumping up and down, getting on their knees, getting on one knee, getting on two knees, hands up, don't shoot, please, blah, 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 blah. And you look weak. You look kind of sad. You look a little bit pathetic because they know that with all the talking you're going to do, you ain't really going to do nothing because you ain't even got no money. You can't even feed your kids. You can't even give your children a job. You can't, you don't even have the dignity of saying that if my children can't get a job working for white folks, they can come get a job working for me. Do you understand how much pride that gave me as a black man to know that that all my children could come work for me in case the world did not give them opportunities? Do you know how much pride I get as a black man knowing that even if all the schools on earth shut down, my kids would still get an education? Do you know how much pride I have as a black man knowing that no matter what happens in this world, I'm holding it down with a smart black woman, and our kids are going to be taken care of spiritually and psychologically and physically and every other way, plus economically. Do you understand that trumps and supersedes anything? There's nothing a white man on earth could say to me that would make me feel better than I feel knowing that I can stand up to most of the forces that come up against me, both foreign and domestic. And that includes some of y'all ratchety Negroes who just love to troll positive black people. The Negro naysayer has no power in our house because we've been prepared for all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And that goes deeper than just getting on your hands and knees screaming, hands up, don't shoot, or Black Lives Matter. Why are you trying to convince white people that Black Lives Matter? What you need to do is convince black people that Black Lives Matter so that all those little kids that got murdered in Chicago last week don't get shot up. You got dozens of kids get murdered every week in cities like Chicago, but yet you're only talking about one police shooting in some city that's 1,000 miles away from you because that's the only thing they gave you permission to talk about. So I'm not on board with the whole critical race theory conversation, not because I hate critical race theory. I told you, I love Derek Bell and all the people that are affiliated with critical race theory. I think that's great. But critical race theory ain't our number one fight right now. And I know we could fight on multiple fronts at once. I totally get that. But you got to talk about the economics. You got to talk about the business ownership. You got to talk about access to capital. You got to talk about transferring that a significant number being put behind the reparations package. If you're not talking reparations, you will not get my vote. I don't care how many Negroes show up and tell me that the Republicans are going to come kill us. They tell us that in every election. I don't care how many black pastors are serving fried chicken with their favorite Democrat. I don't care how many rappers that they hire, because rappers ain't, most of them ain't nothing but slaves anyway. I don't care how many of those rapper slaves they get to make stupid videos like get your booty to the polls and backs that thing up and all that. You're talking to black folks that have risen above the brainwashing. The brainwashing says that we're going to keep you spinning your wheels like a hamster in a cage where you running real fast and you're running real hard, but you ain't getting nowhere. And the reason that you think you're making progress when you're really not is because after you do all that running, all that jumping and screaming and marching and praying and everything else, you're exhausted. You're emotionally exhausted. And you feel that because you're exhausted, you've accomplished something. Well, there was a professor that I met one time at Northwestern University. I can't remember his name. He was a white guy. And I remember he said something in a conference 25 years ago that really got my attention. He said something that was really interesting. It was a completely different context, but I think it's relevant to this point. He said, just because it's hard doesn't mean you actually made progress on anything. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that your work is good. Just because you're exhausted doesn't mean that you actually achieved anything, because you could have spent all your energy doing a big ball of nothing. And so I'm going to just tell you that when I look at the way some of us move forward, when you're talking about racial justice and everything else, we do a whole bunch of nothing. And honestly, I think that the whole debate, the whole battle over critical race theory is a big ball of nothing. You could teach critical race theory in every school in America, and the condition of black people won't really change. The only thing that will change is we'll have more awareness about how mad we should be at white people for what they did to us. But again, that's something parents can teach at home. How about you put so much in terms of resources into the black community that you don't care if white people like you or not, because you're going to be good financially, and you don't have to go beg them for jobs anymore. And you don't have to beg them for validation anymore. And you're not following behind them trying to look for every little opportunity anymore. That's the problem. That's your critical race theory. That, or at least the Dr. Boyce version of critical race theory, is that we all end up becoming white supremacists because America puts white people on a pedestal economically and otherwise, and we end up bowing to that pedestal. I'm tired of bowing. I'm tired of bowing. So that was on my brain this morning. I woke up with that thought and I wanted to share it. And I hope that it was taken with the spirit that it was intended. I'm sure I pissed some people off. And if you're one of those people that got pissed off at what I said, I can't apologize, because I stand by every single word that's ever been uttered out of my mouth. And I hope that for those of you that get what I'm saying, that it'll give you the courage to refocus your energy and to make sure that you stay black first, and that you get the economics first. If you take care of the economics, that will typically take care of everything else. If you have strong economics and strong families, then you can withstand almost anything. But they broke up your families, they busted you up economically, and then they busted you up psychologically and spiritually, and now you run around like a chicken with your head cut off. Don't get caught up in the nonsense. That's my 2 cents. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Blackkeystogreatness.com. That's my life class. That's my book club. If you want to join us in our Wednesday night conversations about Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, go to blackkeystogreatness.com. That's the URL on the screen. And also, in case you're listening today, today's Tuesday, we actually have a stock market investing class, because I told you, you guys know I'm all about the seriousness of the economics. That's what I'm interested in. I want to see you guys have wealth, and I want to see you move ahead in the world. So if you'd like to join us, I'm a stock market expert. My PhD is in finance. So feel free to join us at the blackstockmarketprogram.com. I'm going to meet with my students. I meet with them for an hour and a half every Tuesday, and I answer every single question, and we break down every single thing you and your family will ever need to know about how rich white people make all their money, because I taught many of those people when I was at Syracuse University, and I'd love to teach you too. The first month is totally free. You can get access to all my, like a bunch of stock market expectations I lay out in terms of stocks that I'm picking for my own family. And I want to do everything to help you. So feel free to take a look, the blackstockmarketprogram.com, the URL's on the screen. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button before you go. I love you guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace.